Something's not sitting right, ladies and gentlemen. It really isn't, and it's starting to bug me out. Doing my research so that I can make sure that I'm giving you guys some form of flavor going into tonight's breakdown. We've got so many conflicting stories coming out about the ownership of Bitcoin, ETF volumes, institutional investment, interest, it's not there, demand has disappeared, and it's just not sitting right for me. Tonight's live, I'm going to bring you a couple of stories that you can take away with you and just, you ask yourself the question, something is brewing. It just doesn't make sense. Well, hopefully we're going to try and make sense of it tonight. 2008, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, that's what the theme is. We're going to be diving into an article by a gentleman who has got a prediction that Bitcoin is mimicking what gold did straight after the subprime mortgage crisis of 2007, 2008. Now, you remember what happened there. Everything was moving up, then everything took a shoe bag, and then gold in particular just went for it. We're going to be breaking that logic down because this is the first time in Bitcoin's history where it has managed to accumulate for so long towards its all-time highs. And I hope that this story does actually come through. And then when I give you the idea of why we've got conflicting stories about the ownership of Bitcoin and who's buying it, who's selling it, I'm edging towards the story that we're going to be talking about tonight. Now, today, Bitcoin did pull a good old well movement. We kind of anticipated this movement, ladies and gentlemen, and I'm going to be breaking it down for you to help you understand what we can expect going into Asia. But, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow we've got the FOMC minutes. And that's going to be a little bit of a market mover because that's going to pretty much tell us if the Fed is going to be cutting the interest rates. Well, we know they're cutting the interest rates, but by how much? And what's the scope going to look like in the future? We're going to get a 25 basis point cut. Okay, what about any more? Word is we're looking at getting 3 more cuts after that. Who knows? So if you are new to tonight's live stream, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Traders Reality. Make sure you're tapping the like button. Make sure you go mad on that bad boy so that we can just get up there in the algorithm. We're already trying to work out an algorithm that's in the marketplace, the financial markets. An easy algorithm that we can exploit is the like button. So get acquainted with that bad boy. Will Smith that thing up and let's get with the program. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. All right, then. So good evening, good afternoon. What is good? You rewatched the news of August 2008. Yeah, I'm telling you. No, my sound is not off. It can't be off. It cannot be off. Ladies and gentlemen, it should not be off. Is the sound all good? Please let me know. Now, show us the thong tan. Shut it, man. This thong story needs to stop, man. It's wrong. Anyway, so stocks halt big rally driven by momentum, guys. The S&P drops after notching the longest, say that word to yourself, notching. That doesn't sound right. The longest winning streak in 2024. Now, it would have, if the S&P continued its move to the upside, it would have had the longest winning streak in 20 years. And that is pretty interesting to say the least. But this is not what's got my attention tonight, okay? Tomorrow we have the FOMC minutes being released. That's going to be an interesting thing for us. And today's price action has been a little bit tricky to say the least. We've seen everything come down in terms of cryptocurrency, but tomorrow's meeting is going to be, I don't think they're going to give us much. A lot of people are waiting for what Powell is going to be saying at the Jackson Hole Symposium. And a lot of central banks are kind of uncertain about the story ahead of it. And when we start hearing that central banks sound uncertain ahead of the Jackson Hole, well, the word is that they want 25 basis points. Well, the bank's going to give us 25 basis points. All the other banks out there have been cutting their interest rates except the US. There's more to it, but what do we know? We don't know. We're not actually in those meetings. We're going on the idea that they need more data and all of that mad talk about it. It's just not cutting for me. You've got a debt that is growing significantly, and they're only concerned about the target of 2% inflation. So earlier I was asking you guys about what it's actually like in the States of the US. Do you guys, or are you guys actually experiencing a recession? So some of those comments have been very interesting, to say the least. Now, let's understand what's been going on with... Wait, what the hell's going on here? What's going on with this live? No? That's fine. Okay, I thought there was something wrong with it. Anyways, let's just dive into some things that are hitting the marketplace. Nvidia. This is what I mean about Nvidia, man. It's just shocking. Added $765 billion to its market value in less than 2 weeks. That is just unbelievable, man. That will be a dream for cryptocurrency. 765 billion, absolutely nuts. Shares have surged 31% in 8 days, adding 765 billion to the market value, and the stocks nearly tripled the 11% gain in the Nasdaq 100 gain over the same time period. This is phenomenal. Honestly, I am just gobsmacked at the stellar performance from Nvidia itself. Just quickly pulling up Nvidia's chart. And look, guys, I think this buying Nvidia, the issue that we've got with Nvidia and the whole AI space is the cost that is required to actually run these sophisticated processors and the AI mining and the data mining systems and the cloud computing. It's very expensive, but it doesn't even look like it's a problem for them, because look, these sales and these earnings are formidable for Nvidia. It's just absolutely wild. It's got the stellar top fundamentals. All right, let me ask you a question. Is Nvidia the perfect stock? Is it the perfect stock? That's a question I've got for you all. Do you think this is the perfect stock? Now, I know some of you have got an opinion about Nvidia, but do you think this is the perfect stock? I think right now, where we are, okay, there is an AI revolution, okay? And Nvidia's leading it. What's your opinion? Do you think this is the perfect stock? At a measly $127 a share. That's going to $500, I'm telling you. $6 trillion market cap Nvidia. Tell me why that can't happen. $6 trillion is something that can happen. It's already halfway there with $3.5 trillion. So what's another $3 trillion on top of that? Nothing, okay? This is important. These are stocks that funds are buying. Thank God we have Coinbase inside of that. Where is it? Coinbase, 1,300 funds are involved in it. Here we go. Just scroll down a little bit. There you go. Coinbase. It's good news for cryptocurrency. All right. Doesn't really have that many fund owners. Can you see it above my head right there? Hold on. Is it there? There you go. Coinbase. 1,320 funds are actively playing this. Okay. Of course, at the top side, you've got what? JP Morgan, Eli Lilly, Google, Amazon. You're always going to see those guys up there. But 7,895 funds are holding on to this stock. This is very important. Okay. But the good thing is that we've got Coinbase in there. So that's a good thing for cryptocurrency. Okay. Looking at all the crypto stocks today and how they performed, they've done very well given the grand scheme of things. All right. We haven't seen that much of a sell. I mean, Coinbase got smacked today, but it's still trading at $197 a share. MicroStrategy did pull back ever so slightly with a 1.23% distribution on the day's trading. Now, let me get to the main topic of today as to why I think something sinister is going on. The first point is this. Bitcoin is on the brink of a massive breakout like gold in 2008. And this is coming from a hedge fund CEO, Charles Edwards, the founder and CEO draws striking parallels between the current market behavior of Bitcoin and the historical performance of gold, particularly during its 2008 rally. So let's take a trip down memory lane. What does 2007, 2008 look like for gold? Well, we zoom out, go onto the daily time frame, and you can see over here, this is what gold did in 2008. Okay? 2008, right there. And it shot up. Now, gold was at its all-time highs in this region, and it consolidated downwards, right? Then it exploded out, which happened to be around the time that the ETF came into play. Well, it took around 2 years for gold to get to the swing of things after the ETF was released, the gold ETF, okay? And it shot up from there. Now, the only asset out there that works on the principle of a commodity, and there is a demand for it, is Bitcoin. Now, he goes on in the article to say that Bitcoin is mirroring the 2008 gold rush. And he says that this is the longest period of time that Bitcoin has been in a consolidation, we'll call it accumulation. It's been an accumulation period at its all-time high for quite some time, okay? So we go and look at Bitcoin's accumulation period on the daily time frame, right? Bring that bad boy over here. And what do you have? It spent bloody too long in that range. Way too long. Now, if we're going to go by the logic of what gold had done, principally that means Bitcoin should be taking a drop to the downside, okay? There should be an event that leads Bitcoin lower before it makes that move, because Edwards is effectively saying that Bitcoin is going to be making a move to the 140K with no dips by around May 2025. Does anybody agree with that? We've got two assets. Gold right here. So if we just zoom in just to show you this. All right, look at this. Gold over here, consolidation at 1980, right? Shift out all-time high, okay? Then consolidation at 2021. Why does that say at 1980? That doesn't make sense. It's 2008. It has to be a typo. That has to be a typo. But anyway, consolidation around 2021 Bitcoin. That's where we are right now. Same story here. Oh, 1980 all-time high. Sorry. No? Huh? 1980. Oh, 1980. That really baffles my brain. What's going on there? Anyways, regardless of that, 60,794 is where Bitcoin's price was, but it looks like it's mimicking the same story here, if you can see it, right? I think that has a chance. I believe it to be the case. My short-term projection of Bitcoin is to get to around 80,000. That's my short-term projection for Bitcoin. And I'm saying that by 18th of September, which happens to be the Fed cut time. The Jackson Hole Symposium tomorrow could be putting things into perspective. Not tomorrow, on Thursday, where it's a three-day event, but Powell speaking on the Friday, the second day, which is going to be the important day that Powell tells us where we are with the economy, okay, and the interest rates. But I think by September the 18th, Bitcoin should be at the 85K zone. How many of you are in agreement with that? What reasons do we have for it? Well, this is where it gets interesting. First things first. Now take this and just add it into a bowl. No different to you making a Greek salad, all right? You start off with your lettuce, your spinach, whatever you put in that salad, all right, as the base. Anyone making a Greek salad, a proper Greek salad, that is. All right? I don't know why cucumber goes in there, but that's just another story. Take what I'm about to say, have an open mind with it, don't shoot the messenger, but let's just step back and say, maybe. BlackRock's Bitcoin stash nears 350,000, trails only Satoshi and Binance. All right? So Grayscale's kind of chipped out now. We're not interested in Grayscale. And it looks like Larry Fink is the guy who is just continuously behaving the way BlackRock behaves. $10 trillion worth of assets under management. It's only right that he picks up a stash of Bitcoin. Remember, with $10 trillion under assets under management, don't worry, ladies and gentlemen. They ain't ever going to see a liquidation. They're never going to have a margin call. They can be buying as much Bitcoin as they want at this point in time. And even if Bitcoin were to drop down to a significant low, let's hypothetically assume it went down to 20K, Larry will still be pulling that big fat face because, of course, the stationery that is used in the offices around the world with BlackRock. So when they do a stationery check, how many pens, how many papers, post-it notes they've got, all right? Whatever money is being spent on that, any of the loose change is used to buy Bitcoin. Trust me, that's so true, all right? They're buying bigger and better things, and sorry to say it, they're buying much bigger and better things than Bitcoin. They're in an accumulation phase. So they don't care what price they pay. They don't care about its value. They care about accumulation. That acronym, AUM is all they care about, assets under management. Go figure. So you've got this story here, okay? So keep in mind, they're holding quite a bit of BTC. Bitcoin demand slumps nearing negative territory. Like, these are today's articles, okay? Who is it? Any input for someone that has been short on USD JPY since 157 going into the Jackson hole? Much love to you and thank you. Mad love to you, my friend. London's falling. I remember you, bro. You've been short since then. Mad days. What a guy. I will be looking at dollar yen. Man, I've been cheating on dollar yen. Dollar yen was the baby. Dollar yen was the I lost my trading virginity to dollar yen. I'm just talking in too much detail right now. But yeah, dollar yen is very close to me. I kind of cheated on her with euro, but then I thought, you know what, I can play them both at the same time and start chilling out with the NASDAQ. She's a crazy ass anyway. But yes, Bitcoin demand slumps nearing negative territory. This is the problem I've got. Look at this chart here. It's showing that it's negative apparent demand. So look, all this area here, yeah? Negative demand. Hold on. Is it really negative demand? The charts of this metric, the metrics of these charts, sorry, it's starting to look like something very interesting. It's starting to look like this chart right here. I'm going to flip it on you all, ladies and gentlemen. Articles like this make you think that there's not a demand. They're saying that the demand is dropping, okay? Going into it, it says the daily ETF change in Bitcoin holdings is starting to drop, all right? That doesn't make sense. The live stream from earlier on today said that they just recently picked up another $90 million worth of Bitcoin. So, I mean, where are we going with this? And it said in this, the decrease in demand seems to be driven by a slowdown in purchases by spot exchange traded funds. There's your goodbye decentralization. They are just blatantly saying that Bitcoin can only go up if the ETF serves it so, if they buy the Bitcoin. So what led to Bitcoin's move to the upside in the first place? All the guys in crypto. Well, all those guys have either taken the money off the table, they got smacked about at the all-time high after it corrected all the way down to $20,000. They've been doing DCA since 64,000. They thought, you know what, capitulation, ciao, see you later. It's just not sitting right with me. Why is it not sitting right? Well, this demand right here, in my opinion, this is flawed. Because when the demand is going up, Bitcoin slumps, and then the demand goes down, then Bitcoin rises, then the demand goes up, and then it slumps. Then the demand goes up, it goes down. The demand goes up, still down. And then the demand shoots up, and then it's starting to correct. What does that only mean? Well, it means that when the demand drops, it's not dropping because it's the weak demand. The guys, the holders of the weak Bitcoin are getting rid of it so that dudes like this can pick it up. Remember what we said in the live stream this morning? We got some bids down here that could be showing a little bit of an interest. Yippee-ki-yay to the downside, Bitcoin picks up those bids. We kind of prepared ourselves for that. Platinum members were aware of this move with Bitcoin. I am going to share this. But we were expecting Bitcoin to come down towards those zones. It did sweep a little bit lower, okay? But what's going to be important about this range with Bitcoin is it was one setup. I could have set it in a way that you could have been shorting Bitcoin to the downside. But the guys would have understood that we're looking for Bitcoin to come down. They may have... How many of you guys were running the shorts on Bitcoin at that time? Platinum members, that is. How many of you were running the shorts in that range? Because we were wanting Bitcoin to come down. We had other price projections for other assets like oil itself. So we expected oil to make a move up, and it's now made the move down. And for anybody that is trading oil, as we speak, there are oil tankers and rigs that are on fire. Not rigs, but there are some rigs that are on fire in oil, Russian oil that is, which is going to be a bit of a problem for oil's price. Okay, now you can see that oil did pull that flavor right there, stop run up to bring it back down again, which is consistent with the actual setup right here. Happy days. And then we've got gold's price, which was a little bit tricky. It did come down, which is what we wanted to see it do, and it's now managed to make a little bit of a recovery back up. But what am I getting at with this story here and this logic over here? And then you've got this story right here. Open interest dips, rebounds to 5.64 billion as institutional investors adjust to volatility. It's not making sense, ladies and gentlemen. And then you've got this right here. Crowd showing concern over potential Gary Gensler appointment. I'm going into this story yet again because this is starting to make people think that crypto's going to go in the bin if Harris does get elected, which then makes me think, is this really true? Like, is the demand there or not? Because this is only recent news about Gary coming out as potentially the Treasury Secretary if he is elected. But if the demand is not there, all right, over here, if it's not there, then what is going to happen to Bitcoin? In other words, the logic of Bitcoin making a move to the upside to clear out the all-time high, in my opinion, it will be invalidated if Bitcoin were to actually break beyond this range right here at 56. That logic would be invalidated. Why? Because then that means Bitcoin will start working its way down towards a very, very difficult range, which is the $50,000 zone. Remember, if BlackRock's buying up $350,000 worth, 350,000 Bitcoin, it means that a price drop down to 50,000 is not a problem. It's not going to affect them. Don't make the mistake of thinking that BlackRock's going to be concerned about Bitcoin's price. Not at all. BlackRock was probably saying this. Okay, let's just look at Bitcoin's price action for a minute. Where is Bitcoin's price on the daily time frame? Okay, what have we got here? The range that we've got for Bitcoin with this all-time high story takes us from the top side of 73 and to 49. BlackRock probably have a meeting with all the guys that are buying and selling the ETF, and they're probably saying, okay, we've got a range. We're working 73,000 and let's say 40,000. Just work that range off, all right? Buy Bitcoin as long as it's inside of those ranges. Make sure you're buying it on the corrections and make sure that you're taking some profits as it's working its way higher because we've got to serve our clients in returns on the ETF. Happy days. All right, that's fine. But BlackRock, because of how much liquidity it has behind it, it can afford the big drops and the big rises. It can sustain itself. Retail comes in and makes the mistake of thinking that it can't go any lower because of this or because of BlackRock or because of who else is holding it. It doesn't matter. And the reason being is this. Even though you've got BlackRock holding around 350,000 Bitcoin, okay, what's his opinion of it? Well, the opinion is he's gone from skepticism to embracing Bitcoin's potential. In other words, he is another Michael Saylor. He doesn't care. He's just going to be buying it because he can. Okay? Then when it gets to a specific price point, he may be looking at selling it. Well, we know that's the case because we have seen BlackRock selling. Okay? Inflows, outflows. All right? So he isn't like Michael Saylor because Michael Saylor is not selling the Bitcoin. Can't sell it because he's borrowed against it. But anyway... But Larry is going to be making money off it, right? So let's just bring it back now, okay? The positive story of Bitcoin about the gold rush. It's going to go to 140,000 if it replicates the same behavior as gold back in 2008. We just came from a financial crisis coming out of 2007, 2008, right? So have we had a financial crisis in the world right now? No. So the only reason why this argument about Bitcoin's gold rush run, the only reason why it could be compromised, well, not compromised, but it might not happen is because we haven't had a financial story that could be giving people a reason to buy Bitcoin. All right? We had it back then, and then gold shot up. It had its ETF, shot up. Bitcoin, where's the financial collapse? What is going wrong in the world right now from a financial perspective that could lead people to believe maybe it's time to get Bitcoin and treat it like a commodity? There's enough people backing it, all right? But it just doesn't sit right with me. It's just something is brewing and it's not sitting right with me. How is the demand slumping when you've got this? They have to buy physical Bitcoin. Why aren't they paying attention to that? It's not sitting right with me. And then 1 minute interest dips, and then all of a sudden it's back in. The Bitcoin futures guys are trying to adjust to the madness of Bitcoin. Doesn't make sense to me. And the problem is Bitcoin is going to be moving based on the way the stock market moves. So and it's not that I'm like, oh my God, the articles are wrong, or how can it be? I'm genuinely getting this information. I'm looking at it, and look, here you go. Open interest of CME Bitcoin futures traders. It's saying here, asset managers. The activity is there from asset managers. Okay, cool. They're getting involved in Bitcoin. It's showing interest in Bitcoin. Yet Bitcoin ain't moving. And this is what's battling my brain right now. You can do your price projections, ladies and gentlemen, and say, yeah, but Bitcoin has just tested this trend line. It's going to go. And then when it goes away from that point, you say, I told you the trend line, baby. Yeah, man, I'm telling you, man, the trend line's the one. I need to dive in a bit more. This is accumulation for me. I want 80K, 85K Bitcoin. But how is the demand really going? Like, it's over the last 30 days, yeah, I'm not interested in that. But what I'm trying to get at is, it's just not making sense. 1 minute it's good, next minute it's bad, right? There has to be a consistent story. If he's buying loads of Bitcoin, all right, that means he's taking the supply, man. He'll get to 1 million Bitcoin. I think he will get to 1 million Bitcoin, no doubt. BlackRock, everyone knows it. And they're using him to entice people to buy it. All we need now is Vanguard to adjust its philosophy and then start introducing it. Remember not so long ago, JP Morgan's clients, Morgan financial advisors have been given the green light to advertise the Bitcoin ETF. Well, where are those people? Which then makes sense with this article here. The demand's not there. You know? What are your thoughts on this? It is a clown world, man. It's not making sense for me. It really isn't. You know? Any questions? And we can get into some charts. I'm just looking at your questions right now. Bitcoin ride is over. Thanks for buying my bags at 70. Okay. Sailors and his debt investors are on him. So he will keep projecting Bitcoin for 47 million every other month to crypto retail to hot. Yeah, okay. We had 7 straight months of green candles, and you don't think we have 190 days of consolidation? Well, every cycle we have. It's standard accumulation. Well... It's guys, try, and this is what I mean. I'm scrutinizing all of the data that's coming out about Bitcoin, the reasons for, and when you guys are scouring the internet, looking on certain videos that will give you a reason to believe Bitcoin is going to go up or down, don't settle for the video that's just making it look good because you hold bags of Bitcoin. All right, don't approach investing like that. All right, if someone said to you that you have got a portfolio, okay, and your job is to make sure that you protect this portfolio. Your life depends on it. So what are you going to do? You're going to make sure you check everything. You ain't going to go to the first YouTube video that's like, right, I want someone that is positive so it makes me feel good about holding on to my bag. You quickly Google it and you type it into YouTube, Bitcoin breakout, Bitcoin price, and you see a thumbnail that's like, yeah, Bitcoin to the moon. You're going with it and you sit and watch it for an hour and you're like, yeah, man, this guy believes Bitcoin's going to go up. You go to bed a happy chap. It's the worst thing you could do. You have to sit back and go, hold on, I've got this money here and I'm in charge of it. So in order for me to stay in charge of it so that I can earn money off it, I got to make sure I'm aware of all bases and what's covered and what isn't covered. All right? You can't be biased when you're dealing with uncertainty. That automatically makes you biased when you think, it's going to go up. I don't care. It's going to go up. That's not really responsible because you have to adjust your portfolio. You have to adjust your risk. You may need to hedge yourself. So if you guys were trading, if you had Bitcoin, a percentage of Bitcoin in your portfolio with your stocks or your real estate and what have you, what would have been your hedge? Gold. Hold a second. Isn't Bitcoin like gold? Nope. That's clear as day. It's not like gold. Because if it was, Bitcoin would have taken the all-time high a long time ago, and we'd all be having a conversation about Bitcoin finding support at the 73,000 zone. That would be a new area of support. Right now, we're at the 50 zone, which we were not so long ago, and then jump back a few months, we're in the same bloody zone. What's going on, Bitcoin? Yeah, but Tino, it's accumulating. They're accumulating it, bro. Just get with the program, bro. Yeah, I'm with the program. I get it. I hope that you guys are with it when you're trying to work out what Bitcoin's going to do next, because you don't know what it's going to do next, and conflicting stories and great article right here. Bitcoin brink of massive breakout like gold in 2008. It might not even do it. Okay? It all marries up to it. But one thing we're missing is a financial collapse. And if the markets collapse and so does Bitcoin, you're done with Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen, because it's only going to copy what the stock market does. And that's the sad truth about it. It needs to shoot up, the hedge against inflation. I'm down for the Bitcoin. I want it to explode. I really do. And I'm wondering why it hasn't. There's been every reason for it. There's more of a supply of gold than there is of Bitcoin. Yet gold's clearing highs. It's not making sense, man. It just baffles me. Again, I will always put this case out and say why Bitcoin hasn't hit its all-time high, way beyond its all-time high. I'm talking moving. It should be the price of what Berkshire and Hathaway stock is. That's a $650,000, $672,000 stock, man. There ain't no cryptocurrency influence in that bad boy. Market cap of $1 trillion. Doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. Yes, we should be over 1,000 likes. 1,400 of you amazing people. And only 386 likes. That is sad days, man. That is very, very sad. Bitcoin was high. Jack on January 11th, we should be 100K by now, but we are not going above 75 even by this time next year. We're not above 70. Okay, how many of you think Bitcoin won't even get above 80? I'm looking for Bitcoin to hit 80K, okay? By the September rate cut. That's September. That's in a couple of weeks. Yeah, what are we at? 1, 2, 3 weeks and 2 days. Okay, just under a month. In a month's time, Bitcoin to 80K. Ain't no one saying that. They're just saying Bitcoin to 100K at some point. Well, no, what they're saying is Bitcoin to 100K, ladies and gentlemen, or Bitcoin to whatever price it is, and then it just goes quiet. They'll throw in a year and say 2025. When in 2025? Because that's what people want to know. They want to know the when. All right? And I'll stand up on YouTube and I will say, I expect Bitcoin to be at 80, 85K by September the 18th. I'm giving you a day. Right after the Fed decides to cut. I'll give you a time. 2 p.m. Eastern Standard, depending on when the effort. Oh, I'll give it to you right now. Wait there. Let's do it right now. Come on. I'll stand to it. And you know what? If it doesn't happen, I'll stand up on my live and I'll say, well, it didn't happen, ladies and gentlemen. It didn't happen. But I've got the courage to believe, based on all of this information that we've got and what we're going into from a macro perspective, the most anticipated event for the United States, okay, is this story about interest rates. And then we've got an election. If Harris gets any closer to winning, I mean, hold on, what was it? Where was that chart? Check this out. Look at this. If Harris gets any close to winning, and these swing states right here, this is a problem, man, because those swing states are looking kind of big. And if you don't know what a swing state is, it's pretty much people, the Republicans and the Democrats, they're not really having a dominating role in those spaces, okay? So just to put it into perspective for you, it says here that, where is it? So here we go. So the Republican Party, such as Texas, are considered red states, predominantly located in the South and Midwest. States that lean towards the Democratic Party, such as California, are termed blue states, and primarily found on the West Coast and New England region of the Northeast. Swing states, where neither party can achieve long-term dominance, are referred to as yellow states. So they're neither here nor there. You can see what's going on. But it looks like Trump's going to do it. And if Trump gets into power, bang, crypto, pump, massive. We'll call it the Trump pump. But if Harris does take over, ladies and gentlemen, you are going to be bowing to Gary the Egg. And he'll be cracking the eggs on our heads, ladies and gentlemen. He really will. Because then he will just drop on cryptocurrency like no tomorrow. And then that's when you'll genuinely see discounts on BTC. You will. You bloody will. And it's one of them ones. But anyway. What was I saying? Yes, my time. Wait. Here you go, ladies and gentlemen. 85K Bitcoin by 7 p.m. on Wednesday. 7:30 p.m. No, 8 p.m. on Wednesday, the 18th of September. 85K. Look at the numbers. 18, 8, 80, 85K. 7:30, 8 p.m. 888. That could be a good omen. We all know that the Chinese like the 888. Anyone into astrology? But yeah, I'll stand to it. And if it doesn't happen, ladies and gentlemen, then it doesn't happen. You can get somewhat close towards it. But I'll stand in front of you all and say it. I believe that that's going to be the case. Not because I want it to, because I'm pulling all together all the information that I'm getting about this build-up to why Bitcoin hasn't hit a specific point, to why Larry's picked up 350,000 and why institutional ownership is actually getting involved right now with cryptocurrency and whatnot. I mean, it's just all going in that direction, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what I think is going to be the case. I'm giving you a date. I'm giving you a time, ladies and gentlemen. Not just, it's going to get there. And when it gets there, they will claim the glory. I told you it was going to get there. Shut up, man. Winds me up. Give your price projection. Give your price at the time that you think it's going to happen. And if it hits it at that point in time, on the nose at the time, then I will call myself the fluke master. Because no one's going to be able to pinpoint a precise point at a specific time. But I will literally, what would happen if that happened? I'll surprise myself. But I stand here to say it. Yep. The 18th of September at 8 p.m., Bitcoin will hit 85K. And if it hits it beforehand, happy days, you still win because it's moved up in value. All right? Quickly going over to my guy, USD JPY, for a quick moment. Here we go. Yeah, that 157, dude, you've smashed that. Okay? You're probably going to want to hold on to that bad boy. And then you're probably going to see a little bit of a recovery back up because I've got price projections on dollar yen to go down to around the 127 region. Okay? Because it all depends on the Jackson Hole Symposium and what they do with the interest rates. That's what I think. We'll see a little bit of movement lower, but don't worry. Take some profits. You're sitting nicely, but take something off the table. Okay? Cool. Any questions, ladies and gentlemen? Fluke. Don't worry about my hair, bro. What about XRP? What do you want me to tell you? The stable coin is still being stable. That's what people are trading, they're literally trading 43 to 50 to 60, 43 to 60, 40. Anyways, anybody new to the channel? Anyone new? How many of you are new here? All right, question. You got a question here for me. Tina, if we use the 15-second time frame if we use the 15-second and under time frame. If we use the 15-second and under time frame with changing order blocks and liquidations on chart, is that the equivalent of exo charts? Can you show us how you would scalp it? Just look at the vector candles that appear on the 15-second time frame. So here is an example right here, okay? Go to the 15-second time frame on BTC, and you have to make sure that you are trading. Listen, do not entertain Bitcoin on the 15-second time frame when it's out of market hours. That means once the Asian session fully opens, that means the Tokyo and the Hong Kong session are on, and the dollar dominance is actively trading, and gold is actively trading, okay? Because there is a time called the dead gap time where there's no activity on the dollar dominance and gold, all right? You want to make sure you're improving the odds of your trading coming through, okay? But when you're trading the 15-second time frame, only stick to the peak times. That is, in the morning of the Asian session close and the UK Open, Frankfurt UK Open, right? European markets, and the New York Open, which is at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Standard. Those are the best times for you to trade because then you get significant moves like this. They're kind of easy to work with. Stop runs up, sweep the high of the brinks, and then bring it back down to test the lows of the brinks. Use that as a time frame to trade in. Don't pick these time frames like, just before the market opens. It gets choppy. Bitcoin doesn't barely move at times. But you can see the New York session is the best time for you to trade, all right? And if you're trying to work out whether you get exo charts or not, well, it depends if you're going to look at order flow, because with the vector candles themselves, you can trade and exploit this, but it's not going to be ideal for you in terms of costs. I use the 15-second time frame, 30-second time frame, and the tick charts on the S&P and the NASDAQ, okay? Because I'm not even paying a spread, and I don't need to hold the trade long. I only need to make about 6-7 ticks worth of profit. 6 ticks. NASDAQ does 15 in just 3 seconds. It's no problem, okay? But the fees for it, I'm covered with the fees. It doesn't cost me absolutely anything. You can make $500 and it costs you $24, when you're using 1 to 2 contracts. It doesn't cost me anything, all right? But with Bitcoin, you've got to hold on to the trade for a little while. That's the issue, okay? Any other questions, ladies and gentlemen? Any other questions? And how many of you are new? Tina, really enjoyed Reminiscence of Stock Operator. Thanks for your recommendations. How do you calculate your risk when you're looking to add into your position? How do you calculate your risk when you're adding into a position? This is where hedging comes into play. Okay, you're either going to add to a position or exploit a existing position in the hedge format. All right. Personally, I would. All right, let's make a hypothetical scenario here. Imagine, okay, you run a short on Bitcoin from here. Okay. Now this just take this as an example. Short from Bitcoin at this range. Okay. Now you see Bitcoin down at these points right here. Okay. Short from here, and you're in profit here. You could technically run a long from this point. Okay, so you run your long and you see a profit as price is moving up. Okay, depending on the concentration of the long, that means it realistically has to be double the position of what the short was. Why? Because if you're going to see Bitcoin aggressively moving up, you want to make as much money as you physically can on the retrace. Because if your idea is that Bitcoin's going to roll down, that means you're going to want to add to the position after you've exploited the reason why your long is going to be invalidated. Okay. So you use the hedge to effectively run along from this point right here and double the position that you would have had on the short itself, okay? Make a little bit of money on that long, happy days, okay? And then at this point, or when you decide to close the long, if the price action is dictating to you that you think it's going to continue to go lower, you start adding with the profit that you made on the long to that position, which technically makes it a risk-free trade for you. And then if it does continue in your direction, you're just making bank, happy days. But you have to be already in an existing position that's in profit for you to be able to do that. The further away from the position it is, the easier for you, you're going to be in a better position for you to add to the trade, the further away it is. Hedging, ladies and gentlemen, is something you really want to get your minds into it. Okay? Don't add to a position. Okay, you can add to a position when you've seen a significant move. Like, for example, if anybody that ran a short on Bitcoin from the peak of 69, you're laughing right now, okay? But you could have exploited an even better an even better long from this point, okay? And you would have probably doubled up on town at that. But it's about having the thought process of going long from that point. And if hedging is not in the back of your mind, then you're only going to be looking to add to your short. And if you did add to your short as it was going down, you would have been getting smacked in the face. Instead of adding to an existing position, take the opposing side of the position and then take the hedge. Because the hedge is going to tell you if you should add to the bigger position. All right? That's what I think, in my opinion. I hope that makes sense. What happens after we get to 80K Bitcoin? I don't know. There is nothing psychological about 80K. There's nothing psychological about 100K. Just people talk about it. What happens when we get to $49 million Bitcoin, ladies and gentlemen? What about the rest of the numbers in up to 49 million? Like, do you understand? That is it's irresponsible, in my opinion. I really think it's irresponsible to tell people Bitcoin's going to go to 49 million. I think it's irresponsible. The idea of Bitcoin makes you think that I get it, but he's a maxi. He's down for the Bitcoin. You know? If Michael Saylor was approached and they said, would you, if you could, right, here is a proposal for you to spend a week with the world's most beautiful woman, with the prospect of being able to marry her at the same time and spend a lifetime with her, or have 1 million Bitcoin to your name. I take the 1 million Bitcoin because I know, like, 1 million Bitcoin, I ain't gonna have a problem finding a wife. It's the truth. But he turned down the most amazing thing for the Bitcoin, you know, and he's never going to say no to Bitcoin. And I'm not gunning for sale. I'm just trying to get people to understand that he borrows money to buy Bitcoin, and that's the business model. So he's got to make sure he's keeping up to date with it. If Bitcoin takes a slump, that's going to really affect their margins, you know. So for me, I think it's irresponsible. $49 million Bitcoin. Are you actually going to be, and it's 2045. Do you want to make money in 2045, ladies and gentlemen? You want to make it now. I get that. When trading the traditional markets, is each transaction taxed? Do most people trade crypto as a shield from taxes? No, because they actually get taxed on cryptocurrency. There are ways around it, but you can. The only way that you can trade cryptocurrency, all right, without having to worry about tax is if you trade, in principle, the contracts for difference for Bitcoin and Ethereum. So you go to an exchange like IC Markets. They offer the spreads of Bitcoin against the US dollar. Now, you don't, in the UK, you don't pay tax on trading. You don't, okay? Especially Forex. It's tax-free because you're not even trading anything, ladies and gentlemen. You're trading nothing. You may be trading the idea of Euro USD on spot because that's what the markets are. The Forex markets are spot markets. But you ain't trading an asset, as in physically anything. It's just a line on a chart. Put a little number next to it, and it just moves up and down. And you want to try and profit on the difference. That's it. That's why it's tax-free. It's the only way you're going to be able to trade crypto tax-free if you trade on the CFD markets. You know? That's where you avoid it. I hope that makes sense. It depends on which, especially for Germany. Yeah, in Germany it's the same, but in the UK, that's what it is for me. You know? What else we got here? Tino, what fundamentals and or psychological factors cause gold to have such a choppy price action today, even after the US Open? How can we anticipate this in the future? You can't anticipate chop, but you've got to have the bigger picture in line with what's going on with gold, okay? You've got a war, 2 wars that are happening. Central banks are picking up gold. You've got interest rate decreases, increases happening across the world. Banks are getting a little bit agitated. They need to hedge themselves. That's why gold, in principle, is working up. But let me show you this chart. This is a problem. Gold hedgers position index is suggesting that gold is getting ready to make a drop to the downside. Hedgers work like this. For every dip, and I'm going to give you this, and this is what I speak about in the Market Watch update that I do every weekend. Okay, if you want to take advantage of that, go and check out the Platinum membership. That's what you get every single weekend on a Sunday. I do a macro breakdown and consider the data. It's quite an extensive breakdown, but it aligns you with how I'm thinking from a macro perspective and pulling over sources. Because one thing I learned at university was how to be resourceful and find the working information that's going to help us make a decision. Part and parcel of that is this, okay? You get access to this information. I share it with you guys, but I go into a little bit more detail in it on the Market Watch. So if that's something you want, go and take advantage of that in the memberships right there. You get it, Market Watch videos and posts. You get a 20% discount on that, okay? Your first month. It's pinned to the top of the chat, all right? So go get involved in that and you'll get that Market Watch video and post. But this article right here, this chart is showing us that gold hedgers are getting ready to drop gold. Now, when we go into gold's chart, just go and do a bit of homework on this, okay? Go and look at what was going on around the world when gold was dropping from 17th of July, going down, going down. Then what was going on as it was going up? What was going on from the peak of the 2nd of August down to the move to the upside before it corrected from this point, okay? Go look at what was going on. I always say it. When they start talking about gold in the news articles, okay, that's when you should get ready to get rid of gold, okay? Now, gold is being primed to continue higher because central bankers are getting involved in the story of gold, but commercial hedgers are doing it differently. They're selling to the bankers. But these guys are buying physical gold. They're not interested in the spot price. They're buying physical gold, but commercial traders are trading that logic. So when gold is taking a move to the downside, commercial hedgers are buying it. Then when it starts going in the news, who's buying it now? Retail. Commercial hedgers are selling it. Okay? When you've got that in your mind when you're trading gold, you're then going to have an understanding as to why gold could be moving up or down. So we hear it in the news. Gold, you saw earlier on today, gold is now $1 million a bar. A bar of gold is now worth $1 million. People are now like, oh my God, gold, gold, gold. Now's the time to start getting or offloading gold because these guys now have hedged themselves against risk. So when commercial hedgers are going to start buying the gold again, gold's going to start dropping lower. Hits this little peak down here. Okay, that's when gold is going to start correcting. Did it here, right? 2020 came up and then it corrected lower and then prepared itself for a move up. What we want to see is we want to see price trading lower and then this blue line at the green. But we've got the opposite now. We've got the red line here, which is suggestive that commercial hedgers are going to do the opposite of what's going on. In other words, they expect the asset to come down. So that's something that you can take into your trading, ladies and gentlemen. Okay? Now, with that being said, I hope we have enjoyed tonight's live stream. Has been a bit of a long one, again, so I apologize. But on the way out, make sure you hit the like button, and I will be checking in with you all tomorrow morning. FOMC, ladies and gentlemen, the minutes that is, so don't get too excited. No, get excited because there's going to be some movement across the board. All right? Have a good evening, gang. Mad love and respect.